Hello, and welcome everyone. Welcome to this wonderful special edition of Hit Talks with Pearls of Wisdom. I'm Pearl Cox, and it's Pearls of Wisdom that's my side, and I'm so grateful to Vicky to let me actually have this special edition of Hit Talks. I've got some wonderful speakers lined up. I'm sure you'll have seen all the areas that we've covered and all the wonderful speakers' names, and we've been sharing everything to the run up of this. So it just leaves me to say welcome, and just can sit back and enjoy. And if you've got any questions, obviously reach out in comments and everything. We will try to address them at the end, but we're going to be running through with the speakers first. So thank you and welcome.
Good afternoon or good evening wherever you are in the world, ladies and gentlemen, and my name is Vicky Thomas, and I'm so excited to present to you this special edition live broadcast of Hit Talks in partnership with Pearls of Wisdom. Now, I absolutely love it when we have special editions where we have amazing people, amazing hosts that are going to be able to share with you their 8 speakers. Where they choose the speakers, they actually bring the magic of the energy of the speakers together. And that's how we create magic together. And this episode with the amazing Pearl Cox from Pearl Cox International and Pearls of Wisdom, which is an amazing platform which you need to check out, and we'll talk more about that later. But when this collaboration came together, it was just absolutely magical for me, because Hit Talks is all about spreading hope, inspiration and transformation into the world. And we do this in snippets of 8 speakers speaking for 8 minutes on 8 different perspectives on hope, inspiration and transformation. And Pearl, with the Pearls of Wisdom, her energy and her mission of actually bringing out into the world snippets of wisdom, pearls of wisdom, is just in line with everything that we do at Hit Talks. She's also a huge advocate of Hit Talks, and I'm absolutely so excited to give her the stage. Now, when we think about Hit Talks and about the days that we broadcast, the days just aren't picked out of thin air and thinking, oh, we're just going to broadcast on Sunday or we're just going to do it on Friday. They are energetically chosen to be in line of the special edition host. And today, being the 11th of April, is not just a powerful, energetic day of it being a new moon. It's also the birthday of Pearl's mother, so a day to celebrate. It's also an energetic day in Pearl's energy, and as far as the Mayans concerned, in her future, where we're able to stand up tall and where we're able to really use our backbone to deliver a message, to actually deliver power through love, through intentions, and obviously through magic. So please enjoy this special edition, because I know it's going to be absolutely amazing. 8 speakers that Pearl has brought together herself, specially chosen to be on Hit Talks platform. So Pearl, I am truly excited to sit back and watch you host the special edition of Hit Talks and Pearls of Wisdom. I am so looking forward to it. So my darling, I now give you the Hit Talks stage for you to present and create magic.
Well, thank you. And welcome everyone that's taking part. Welcome to everyone that has signed up and registered to actually watch and feel the energy of this wonderful special edition of Hit Talks. And as you heard Vicky say there, Hit Talks is all about hope, inspiration and transformation. And each of these 8 wonderful speakers will be speaking for just 8 minutes on just that subject, and adding some pearls of wisdom, some golden nuggets into that mix. So without further ado, I'm going to start to introduce you to these wonderful guests. These are the people you've tuned in to listen to. And the very first wonderful, wonderful lady that we are going to be speaking to, that we are going to hear speaking, is the wonderful Francesca Cassini. Now, Francesca and I met only a short time ago when I started doing a massive project about International Women's Day. Came all about from a Facebook memory message that I'd spoken 3 or 4 years ago as someone who excelled in a male-dominated area, and people wanted women to speak for International Women's Day. And this memory came up, and I suddenly thought, right, I'm going to share that. Would anyone be interested in taking part in an International Women's Day project? Well, it just went mad. From there, it went absolutely mad. And this is where I met the wonderful, wonderful Francesca Cassini. And as you'll see from her wonderful bio there, the amount of information this lady has. When we first connected, that energy was so high. It was so wonderful to actually have someone that the synchronicities were off the scale. And so I give you the wonderful Francesca Cassini. Francesca, can you share what hope, inspiration, transformation means to you, please?
Thank you so much, Pearl, for that incredible introduction. And I'm really excited to talk about hope, inspiration, and transformation, because, you know, it was only about 6 years ago, when I was 59, that I hit a really dark night of the soul. And I think probably for one of the first time in my life, I lost all hope. So at 59, I lost hope that I was ever going to find the husband that I wanted. That meant that I was never going to have the children that I longed for. I wasn't going to have the business that thrived, that made me feel like I'd really achieved. And I wasn't going to have the money that would get me the home and the holidays that I longed for. And there was this real sense at 59 that I had completely messed up my life. I'd achieved nothing. I'd clearly been of absolutely no value, because none of those things had come to me. So if I had received none of those things, then it must mean that I had had nothing to offer. And I was living with friends, helping with their children, and I didn't have a penny to my name. So it was a time when I felt absolutely pointless and worthless, and hope and inspiration and transformation had just fled out of the window. And I think it was the first time ever that I chose to look that sense of failure and dismay in the face, rather than trying to G myself out of it. And what happened was quite magical. So I actually got offered a job, which was amazing, a job with money coming in, not a huge amount. And I was invited to become a writer for content of a spiritual tour company based in Peru. And all of a sudden, just a few weeks after this dark night of the soul, I was on a 5-week bucket list tour of Peru. And is somebody trying to talk to me there? I'm hearing some background sounds. Okay. So all of a sudden, I got this sense of hope being rekindled, that maybe my life wasn't completely over. It wasn't all going to be a downhill trajectory from that point. And there was something I could cling on to that I would enjoy. And over the next 18 months, I started to get these moments of epiphany that maybe women over 50, 60, 70 and beyond, maybe we weren't past our sell-by date. Maybe rather than going downhill and then ending up being a burden on our families or the NHS, we had something to offer the world. What if that journey through menopause was really a portal to a deep level of incredibly valuable wisdom that we could bring to the world? So I spent a 4-month winter on my own in an off-grid yurt during the wildest, wettest winter on record in Wales, and then a series of tiny homes in caravans over this 18 months. And out of the blue, inspired idea. In again, and feeling that I think we all want to feel like we've had some impact in our world, whether that's on our immediate family or our local community or beyond. I think it's incredibly important to feel that we have purpose and that we're of value. And I think it's really easy in our world today, particularly as women, when we lose our physical fertility, to think that maybe that purpose is being lost. Maybe our life is not so meaningful. And so with this inspiration, I started this community for women over 50 called the Silver Tent. And what I discovered was it seemed to speak to an enormous number of women. And over the last 4.5 years, I've been pouring my heart and soul into nurturing this space to create this, I guess, this meeting place between those older women who really knew their value and worth in the world, and connecting them to those women who had felt that they'd lost that sense of themselves. And I wanted to create a space where we could recognize that we are like an untapped reservoir of wisdom. And the more I look at what's happening in the world today, the more value and power I think we have to offer in our local community and in the wider community as well. So the Silver Tent has been growing. I've noticed how at the same time as my own transformation, that I'm witnessing other women come along and regaining their hope, regaining their sense of inspiration, and many of them are finding a sense of transformation as well. So it's a really powerful place to be. And I think what's exciting me for myself personally is that I went from that dark night of the soul of feeling like I'd achieved nothing, that I was nothing, and that I was pointless. And looking back at all the things that I'd thought about myself throughout my whole life, I don't think I'd ever really had great self-esteem, to be honest. I look back now at how I felt about myself pre the dark night of the soul, and I realized that how I experience myself now is so vastly different, that there's no doubt for me that I have transformed during this time. And I am speaking to other women over 50, over 60, over 70 and beyond, who are also saying that this time in their lives is the most powerful. So I think that brings enormous amount of hope, inspiration and transformation into our world. So yes, I really hope that if you've felt anything like I felt, that this gives you some hope, inspiration, and a sense that you can transform your life, but your sense of yourself, which has to be like the kernel, the core of everything, I think, anyway. And so what I want to say is that really, we are an untapped reservoir of wisdom when we get older. And I think that the menopause is the portal to that. And that we can really look at ourselves as being valid and valuable, with wisdom worth sharing in our world today. And what the Silver Tent and my community is aiming to do is really challenge the current convention of how older women are looked at and perceived in the world today, and rewrite the myth of the older woman. Come and join us. I'd love to meet you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, Francesca. And I got so much from this. So I don't know if everyone else, you will see with Hit Talks, even though people don't get to speak to each other, none of the speakers do, but they are speaking from their soul, from their heart. You really find that there is a set message. And the message I've taken from angels want for me to do, what my purpose on this earth is to do, and that is to speak for the unspoken, which is why Hit Talks is such a phenomenal platform to actually be out there and to reach and give a voice to so many other wonderful people that they can share. So that divine inspiration that divine inspiration really resonates with everything. You can see like the synchronicities that Francesca and I have, and that reservoir of wisdom, that untapped reservoir of wisdom. Excuse me, I'm just going to take a drink. I do apologise. And to do that, once you've actually had that connection, you've got that divine connection, and you have everyone that is resonating with you, you can't help but transform. So that whole idea of the hope, the inspiration and the transformation that Francesca has just shared with us is absolutely wonderful. You have that divine inspiration and you've gone with it and just seen, and how many other people have joined that movement and have actually seen the transformation. And that's from our very first wonderful speaker. Now, the next speaker I'm going to introduce you to is the wonderful Rachel Gotto. Now, I've known Rachel for probably almost a year now, and every time we connect, the energy is off the planet. This lady always shares a phenomenal story. She raises me up every time I listen to her, every time I listen to any interview that I do with her. She really is phenomenal. So I give you, or we're just going to see, as you'll see, we're just bringing up Rachel's bio, so you will see all the wonderful things that Rachel has done. And as a speaker, she is off the chart. She truly is. An author. Her book comes out later this year. It's already available to pre-order on Amazon, so make sure, look out for Rachel Gotto, and I'm sure she will share with you the title of her book as well. But I give you the wonderful Rachel. Thank you so much. Would you like to share your story of hope, inspiration and transformation, please?
Thanks, Pearl. I'd love to do so. And thanks for the lovely introduction. And thank you, Francesca, behind me as well. What a gorgeous story. And actually, it's just given me the opening to come straight in and say, I completely second every single thing that you've said, because I too am in that place in my life where I'm transitioning. And it's like a metamorphosis, I have to agree, because I truly feel that I'm moving into a completely different realm in my life. I feel as if I'm arriving for the first time on this planet with true intuitive wisdom and power, and a power that is a wonderful emanating of power rather than something coming from the outside in. I really experience it as coming from the inside out. And this is, for me, one of the most amazing experiences. Let me share with you that I have a life of extreme deep trauma, and I have experienced some trauma that probably is more than many people would experience in a whole family, in one person, through one lifetime. And just to briefly share with you, I came through an extremely challenging childhood, quite an abusive, emotionally abusive childhood. I lost my wonderful, dear, close brother to cancer at a very young age, and I nursed him for some years, and it was really traumatic for me. 1 year later, I sadly lost my husband in a tragic accident, and I was pregnant at the time, and I was present at the accident. So already it was starting to stack up, and I was beginning to wonder, was there something wrong with me? Was I jinxed? Was there something karmic that I was downloading and it was manifesting itself in my life? And it frightened me. And at the same time, I was trying to become a mum because my daughter was born 3 months later and she was tragically not very well. So it was a complete and utter mess. There's no other word for it. Couple of years later, I was found that actually I collapsed and I had a benign brain tumor and I hadn't got long to live. Now, it took me a long time to find somebody to come and help me and save my life. It was actually a doctor in the UK who finally said, I'll give you the chance. And he did give me the chance of life. But when I had my chance of life, I woke up paralyzed. I was completely paralyzed down the left-hand side of my body. So it was a journey and a half again. I had to learn to walk again. I had to learn to use my body again. I had been left-handed. I had to learn to be right-handed. So where is this story going to end? It sort of seems to go on and on and on. And every time I decided that I was going to use what I'd learned through my last experience, something else happened. So I was constantly blocked from paying it forwards or giving it back. Something came into my life that stopped me in my tracks yet again. Now, I was beginning to get road weary. I was beginning to think that life really didn't want me here. And I was fighting so very hard to maintain a position, never mind a job or anything. I was trying so hard to stay alive. And so in my recovery from paralysis, I became an inadvertent addict. So what that meant was that actually the medication that had rightfully been given at the end of this was actually a crumpled heap of a person. And this is only just over 5 years ago. So this is why I want to talk about hope, inspiration, and transformation, because if there ever was, I think my life does represent that. Today, I work as a clinical hypnotherapist. I particularly specialize in working with people with deep-seated issues like trauma, like anxiety and depression. And I work with women over 50. So the end of the story was that actually I truly believe that the universe understood that I hadn't learned my lesson. I actually hadn't learned enough. I lost my health, I lost my mind, and I lost all my support. So I was in a house on a hill for 2.5 years with acute agoraphobia and the most 47 extreme symptoms. I was at the complete mercy of my mind and at my body at that point in time. That all ended, and I was a fragile mess. And I said about build, and it was quite literally that I looked at people who were communicating and I observed them. So I had to really learn how to be in the world again. And so I was working from the bottom up, and I accrued experience after experience after experience until I was finally well enough to give back. And then it all fell into place. And I do believe that there is a time for everything. And they also say, we have an expression in Ireland which says, the old dog for the long road and the pup for the boreen. Now, I'm going to translate that sentence for you. So you can probably understand the old dog for the long road. Yeah, we need to have a certain amount of solidity and we need to settle in to really take the journey. The pup for the boreen means that the young fella can only take the short road. And I believe that through these life experiences, I was becoming the older dog for the long road. I believe that actually, finally, somehow, some of this was sinking in. And as I came through this final recovery, because remember, I had lots and lots and lots of recoveries. As I came through this final recovery, it was quite literally like a download. Suddenly I knew what I needed to do, and suddenly I knew who I needed to serve, and suddenly I knew what my gifts were. And the gifts that I'd ended up with were that I was able to deeply tap into people's subconscious minds and somehow go on a journey with them where we left the usual way of being in therapy and we go into this realm of trusting the universe and trusting what I call the quantum field, knows and has the wisdom and quite literally downloads it to us. And I do believe that I would not be able to work in that capacity with anybody unless I'd have had these deep experiences. I truly believe it's like I've come out of a chrysalis, and all the experiences I've had now, I am so grateful for them. I cannot tell you enough how grateful I am. And it might seem mad, Yes, of course, I wish that I hadn't have lost my husband, my brother, and my physicality. Of course, any human being would wish that. But it is the deeper experiences that we go through that, if we allow them, they cause a great deep change in us. If we can look back and we can find the learning in it and praise ourselves and grow to love ourselves through our experiences. It takes time, I know that. But if we can go within and heal ourselves from the inside out, we are truly moving towards what I love to say, which is our own greatness. And I think how better life moved and building on our experiences, and we're building on wisdom, and then we come into this realm of being able to share it with people around us and to give back and to pay it forwards. So I'm truly grateful every day for what's gone on in my life. It's been difficult, but I do say to people, look, whatever the journey, everything, this too shall pass. We can grow from our experiences, and I truly think that that is where it's a lovely place to be. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Just wow. Didn't I tell you, every time I hear Rachel speak, she inspires me. And just like I said, taking notes, we see again the divine inspiration. We see where the universe has actually come in and shown Rachel that, right, this is it. Both Francesca and Rachel felt they had to go through this massive growth. They had to really hit rock bottom to be able to come back out the other side. And what a transformational story Rachel has. I think she gives us all hope. And when you listen to, I say to you, please reach out. Make sure that you get Rachel's book, because it's going to cover a lot of her story in far more depth. And every time I've spoken to her, she gives me goosebumps. You really do, Rachel. The way you share and the message it is pure inspiration to see what you've gone through and that you've come out the other side and what you've achieved. It really is wonderful. And plus, you said about downloads again. I spoke about what the universe and everyone has actually asked me to do, what I know my guides want me to do. So yes, with that, it just so many resonates. And I'm going to say my favourite S word. You knew it would be coming. The synchronicities, those synchronicities that come through, I can see them in everyone that's already spoken, and I know I'm going to see them throughout all of these wonderful speakers. So with that, I'm going to move on to the next, our third wonderful speaker. And my next guest is the wonderful Sarah Ibrahim. Now, Sarah and I speak every day, quite a lot of times each day. She's my executive assistant as well as being an inspirational coach. She is phenomenal. When you listen to when Sarah is speaking, as you see, we are now sharing Sarah's wonderful bio and what she does. When Sarah shares from the heart, you can't help but be moved. This lady will fire you up. She will give you inspiration. She will share what she's been through, and she will motivate you to go forward. So without further ado, I give you my third wonderful speaker, Sarah Ibrahim.
Hello. Oh my gosh, what an absolute privilege to be here tonight. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, Pearl. I really appreciate it. Vicky, your team, everyone is amazing. Oh my gosh, what a story, Rachel, as well. And so right on the back of that, I just think, you know, for me, this is where genuine hope and inspiration and transformation comes from. It comes from going through these things, using our stories to go ahead and help others. Right. And so I think I've probably said this to you before, Pearl, about 1,000,000 times. So I'm going to say it again for the benefit of those of you that haven't heard. One of my favourite quotes is that if you want to learn something, read it. If you want to understand something, write it. And if you want to master it, then teach it. And so for me, my own journey, where I have come from a place that was quite kind of misguided, let's say, I'll go into that in a minute, to a place now where I'm leading myself and I'm leading others through their fear, through their, the things that they've been through, to move into a place where they are empowered and they are ready to shine. And it comes from a place of authenticity. And I've realized that when I am fully in my power, it's at the times, as Pearl said, when I'm talking from my heart, when I'm using my own experiences to teach others, look, this is where I've been, this is what I'm at, and I can help you with your journey because I get it, I've been there, right? And so just 4 years ago, I was very heavily into the party scene, by which I mean drink, I mean drugs. I was literally killing myself, okay? And this was like, I would go on 2-3 day benders every single weekend, sometimes in the week. I'm not eating, I'm not sleeping, I'm not taking care of myself. I was a holiday rep, I was working abroad, party lifestyle. I was 36 years old, so I had a good long stretch of partying. And truth be told, I was spiraling dangerously downwards. Well, I had no idea of this at the time, okay? And, I just thought I'm having a great life. I've always been this person. It's quite high energy. I've always drawn people to me, and people want to be around me. People want to hear what I've got to say, even when I'm tanked up, even when I'm, not, even when I'm kind of chemically altered, let's say, okay? But now I've learned a way to channel that energy for the greater good, to be of service to myself and to heal the world also, right? And what a blessing it has been. So, what the pivotal turning point for me was that I fell pregnant with my son Chase. He's now 2 years old. And at the time, I'm not going to lie, this news was just like, I'm sorry, what? And it took a lot. It was a massive thing to get my head around. It took me about 3 days of just being completely in like huh. And until I finally thought, you know what, the universe has given me what I need. This is not what I would have requested at this moment in time, because this is not what I think I want. However, it clearly is what I need, right? And truth be told, and I truly believe this, this to be true, Pearl, the level of my partying, and because I'm so headstrong and I'm so, I will not be beaten, right? So I would just go on for another day, make another call, open another beer, call another person up, and I was so lost in it all, and I thought I was having a good time. And I look back now and I'm just like, my gosh, woman, how could you not know? How could you not see how sad you were, what you were missing? Like there's a whole world going on out there and you didn't even know it. Like I was in a place where I used to think to myself, what do people do at a weekend if they don't get out their nut? Like what? And I couldn't work it out. Like seriously, what does that tell you about my state of mind? And so I've come from that place into then having a baby and being like, okay, where's the rule book here, please? Can somebody just tell me what I meant to do with this thing? To setting up 2 online businesses, to going on this massive self-development, self-actualization journey, and really discovering who Sarah is and what her purpose is. And what I discovered, I came here to serve. I came here to help others understand themselves, just like I have learned to understand myself. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm nowhere near finished with this journey, right? But where I am right now, I know the power of my voice, and I know that the people that are assigned to me will be resonating with this message right now, whether they've come from a background of drinking drugs or not. That's kind of irrelevant. The point is the transformation is huge. And if I can do it, girls, so can you. Right. And that's really what I want to say today. There is nothing, and I mean nothing, that is insurmountable. We sometimes get in these places that are so, we're so in the what's the word, in the moment. In that moment it's like, I can't get out, I can't stop, I've already messed up my job, I've already spent so much money, and so then that's our excuse to continue with that cycle. But at any time we can choose to interrupt the pattern, and we can choose to say, no, I choose me, I choose God, I choose the world, right? I choose to be better, I choose to show up in a different way. And this is it. This is my time. This is my choice. And this absolutely is my choice. Absolutely 100% all day long now. And I just that this way. More and more that I've quieted that mean girl voice that used to say to me, but Sarah, what are those people that used to see you down the pub going to think? Yeah, why is anyone going to listen to you when you was the gobby one in the boozer, right? All of these things, my mind would kick up to me to tell me I'm not good enough, tell me, I'm making a fool of myself, tell me that people are laughing at me, all of the things. And they weren't true. They weren't true. And even if they were, so what? So what? Because let's separate, the wheat from the chaff here, right? I don't want the people around me. I don't want the people that are keeping me small, right? I want to align myself with amazing speakers, people that make me calibrate to a higher level, calibrate to a higher frequency, to want to be more, do more, show up more, have more, and just be the best version of myself, because there's just so much power in it. And I did not have a clue. I did not have a clue how much power I held inside myself. I didn't have a clue that I really did have the answers. I heard people say it and I used to think, please, like, this is some airy fairy load of nonsense. It doesn't, like, I'm the only person in the world that doesn't have the answers because I'm special. Oh, guess what? Lo and behold, I do have the answers. We all do. And now I'm here to tell you this story. I've come from that place where I did not believe it, to tell you that I fully believe it now. And the peace and the assurance that I've got in my heart, and the love that I feel from my people in my group, from my friends and people like Pearl, my clients, the whole thing, the world has tilted on its axis. The moment I've stepped into this new persona, the universe has met me there, and it's been an incredible journey. So thank you so much for letting me share that today, Pearl.
Wow. 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 You inspire me every day, every time you speak. Didn't I tell you all just how special this lovely, lovely lady is? Well, and I don't know where my voice is going here, so apologies if I'm a bit croaky. But yes, do we see a pattern coming from everyone and all these wonderful speakers here, where we see people have gone to rock bottom, they're getting right the way back up, and they're given hope, they're inspired, and we see that massive transformation. And yes, this wonderful, wonderful lady inspires me each and every day. And where Sarah was saying this, that how Chase has saved Sarah's life. Anyone that follows Sarah, if you don't already follow Sarah on social channels, please make sure, reach out and follow her, and just see those wonderful pictures of lovely Chase that she shares, and that message, and you can see that light, that love, that inspiration, that divine inspiration that comes through. And as Sarah said, it's now the divine choice. She's gone through to rock bottom, she's gone up there, she's done the work on herself, she can now help others to move forward. And you see that divine intervention once again. That's all three of the speakers that we've had so far has seen. There has been the universe mentioned, where the universe has come knocking on the door, given us that nudge and said, right, there is more, I can show you, this is the way. And then we have these phenomenal stories that these speakers come on and share, and this is where they light us up in so many different ways. And we might all be watching this thinking, well, yeah, I know my path, I know what I'm meant to do, but I bet you are being touched by every single one of these speakers, because they are sharing those pearls of wisdom, those golden nuggets, where there, even if it's just one sentence, there will be one sentence that hits you just here, smack bang in the heart when you're listening. And this is what Hit Talks is all about. So thank you, Sarah. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful. I'm now going to introduce you to our fourth speaker. Now, I've known this person probably longer than anyone else on the panel. We worked together in corporate way back in 2012. And I can remember I came in as a contractor and John was working there as a permanent member of staff. And I asked a few questions and he thought, this girl knows what she's talking about. So of course he got my attention because he was nice to me and he praised me. So he's wonderful. And then you get to see just what this man can do. And he is phenomenal. He really, really is. Like I said, I've known John Cooper since 2011, 2012. we've stayed in contact, and it's one of those things where we might not speak for ages, and then when we do speak, it's like we've never had that gap. And then I'm going to say the magic S word. I'm going to say synchronicities, because you'll see law of attraction is now something that John works with as well. So I'm now going to bring you up, John. John, can you please share your story of hope, inspiration and transformation, please?
I can indeed, Pearl, and thank you for that lovely introduction. And following Sarah, crikey, how do you do that? But yes, I've known Pearl a long time, and corporate world was one of those experiences, and I use the word experience, that I'm glad I'm corporate world. I lived in Spain by trade, but I went to Spain, and I was a radio presenter on an English language radio station down there. I was a young man. I resonated very much with in all the that, and an apartment which I had to sell. It was a time when the market was crashing, so I lost a lot of people. I thought, well, that it just can't get any worse. And it was a very down time. It was a really, really, really depressing time I was in at that time. So I had one friend who used to look after his little boy, Jamie. I used to babysit him. And so I thought, I'll give John a call. And I rang him up and he said to me, John, you won't want to talk to me. And I said, why not? He said, I found Christ. I said, really? Well, that's interesting. I said, I've just been talking to that fella. I said, God, if anyone can help me, it's got to be you. And I rang John. And from that moment forward, it changed. John invited me to the house. He put me up for a few days. He had someone who needed some work doing over in Mallorca. That was a job that lasted a few months and put some hard cash into my pocket. It got me back on my feet when I thought the only way down was really down. And no, it did change my life. And yeah, I listened to the Christ story, and yes, I'm a Christian, but I don't practice daily. I don't go to church. I probably get slapped for that, but never mind. But God's there when I need him. And that's the thing about that. You know, when you want something, you ask for it. It's usually there. And the problem with most people is they don't ask for stuff. They ask for things that aren't really available. So anyway, moving fast forward, you know, things did improve, and I ended up back in Britain. And well, I say they improved, went back in Britain to the lovely cold weather, and eventually ended up working at National Grid, as Pearl mentioned. And I spent nearly 20 years there. It was a great time. You know, I met my wife there. We're still married, happily married, 19 years now. And I had a little boy, Mikey, not so little now, he's 18. But with corporate world, I just didn't get to see him. And I sat down with Lizzie one day, and it was a great job I'd got. And they used to send me over to New York and Boston, which sounds lovely, but actually it was a nightmare. And I said to Lizzie, I said, my wife, I said, what can we do? I said, well, we won the lottery, that'd be great. I said, how much is enough then? And we both said, wrote down a number, and we just wrote down £100,000. Why? It cleared the mortgage. A few days later, I got made redundant. And guess what? I got a golden handshake. Do you know what the golden handshake was? What we'd asked for, with the pension and all the bits and bobs. So we got what we asked for. So I said at that point, from now on, I'm just going to help other people. It's not about the money. I don't care about the money. It's about family. So everything I do is all about the family. So in my new business, which is now building websites for people, you know, we have a strapline which is helping businesses grow, but it's all about helping people grow. And in my journey of helping businesses, I keep meeting people. I think, I need to work with you. I watched a film called The Way. It's about the walk down the Camino de Santiago. And the next day I met someone who wanted a website, who the Order of the Fleur de Lis, which I'm now a member of. And the knights on the Order of the Fleur de Lis used to protect the pilgrims who walked the Camino de Santiago. So when this customer said, "You won't know about this," I said, "Well, actually, I watched that last night." So now we talk daily, and it's all changed. He introduced me to a film called The Secret. I watched that fairly regularly. Why? Because when I thought back about my life, everything I've ever wanted, I've got. And everything I didn't want, I didn't get. I wanted a happy family. I have one. I want to claim a mortgage. I've done that. Thank you very much, National Grid. But all about meeting people was about helping people. Years ago, I heard a scream in the depth of the night. I investigated it. A girl was being attacked. I stepped in. Eventually, the guy got prosecuted. I stepped in at the right time. She wasn't too badly injured. He did try and rape her, but I was there in time to stop that. The guy was a university lecturer at Nottingham University. You wouldn't believe it. You couldn't write it, been playing bridge. But had I not stepped out of the way to help someone, how would I have felt for the rest of my life? And that's the thing. When the universe calls to you and says, someone needs your help, you do that. I have a customer who has a shop that sells crystals, introduced to me by another client who was having a real problem with a web design company. And on the day of the first lockdown, he turned a website off. So not only could she not open a shop, she couldn't even sell online. So I stepped in and I helped her, went out of my way and made sure she was online, is trading. And if you Google Spellbound Gifts, she's based in Nuneaton. She's got a fabulous array of crystals and tarot cards and all the rest of it. But that's the thing. It's all about helping people where I can. And when I talk to my customers, I try and understand their journey, their pain points, and how can I help you? And that doesn't mean making money out of them. It means making the right choices for them to make sure that they get help when they need it. And I don't do things, all the doctor surgeries I work for during this, I've helped them for free. I don't care about the money. As long as they're being doctors, that's what matters to me. They didn't need to ask. The universe said, you need to do it. And that's exactly what I've tried to do with everything I've done. And all I would say to you is, if you want it bad enough, the universe will find you a way to get it. And it will come in the most unexpected way. We wanted £100,000, losing my job. Would that be on the top of the list to get that? No. But that was the answer I needed. I just didn't see it. And it gave me my family back. And I spend more time with my family than I've ever done. So I urge you, if you want it, for it. And if something says you won't get it, that's the script saying, ignore that. So that's me. And the little picture behind, the little comment there is Neowise. My little boy wanted a picture of that, and there it is. Thank you.
Thank you. So you get right down into despair. And like you said, John, I mean, yes, we've shared that story before, you and I, when you've said when you were in Spain and how literally everything happened at the same time and you got that help, universe, source, whatever to call it, that about was true law of attraction. And how many of us, I think, once we get onto this path, you look at law of attraction and think, yes, I can do. Attraction does not work like that. You need to put out there that you give from the heart, you give from your soul, and what you truly desire, the universe listens and it brings it to you. Like John said, where both John and Lissy put down that figure, and lo and behold, you can see the synchronicities. They both wrote the same figure, and that's what John got. That's what the universe gave to John in the redundancy, because that's what he asked the universe for and that's what he received. And if you see as well, making the right choices. How many times have we heard ask, believe, receive? That's just it. Believe from your, and the epitome, absolutely wonderful. So thank you, John. Thank you so much. Another story of hope, inspiration, transformation. You are so inspirational. So thank you. I'm now going to move on to my fifth wonderful speaker. This lady, we resonate on the same energy so often. We work in very similar areas, sort of corporate wise, but we also work with energy. This lady I've known for a short time, feel like I've known her all my life. The wonderful, wonderful Julia Narpor. And as you can see, we've actually got her bio up here. So it will go through all the work that she does and everything, and exactly how she can help you and everything. So I'm now going to ask the wonderful Julia Narpor, could you share your story of hope, inspiration and transformation, please? Oh, just a minute. We can't hear you. We can't hear you. I think we're going to have to unmute you.
Is that better? Can you hear me?
Yeah, that's brilliant. Thank you.
Fabulous. All I said was thank you, Pearl. It's a pleasure to be here. Now, when I was invited to take part in tonight's event, I really wasn't sure what I could add to the occasion. So I did what I think a lot of people here tonight have done, and I asked the universe, I put it out to the universe what I could share. And a very clear image and clear story came to me. So that's what I decided to share tonight. Now, the picture I had was one of me as a child, a blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl, nothing out of the ordinary, always did her best, a good girl. I had a very unremarkable childhood. I had two loving parents, and I owe everything to them and the foundations that they gave me. But I wasn't very good as a little girl, and some would say still not, at hiding my feelings. I found it hard to not show on my face what I was actually thinking. I think I have, or in fact, I've been told I have one of those faces, the faces that show what we really think. Now, mostly my face was smiling, still is, I'm told, and my disposition was quite sunny, except when I was faced with people who pretended to be anything that they weren't. And then even as a young girl, my face would betray my true feelings, and it got me into trouble a good few times over the years. And my lovely mum would tell me, and in fact she still does tell me, that I should be more tolerant, that I didn't suffer fools very gladly. And I really thought, honestly, that there was something wrong with me, that there was something missing, and that I was a bad person, because I wanted to give those people who dealt in artifice and who didn't present the true side of themselves a wide berth. I truly thought that I had somehow short-circuited or side-swerved the lesson in the social niceties of life. Now, I grew up somewhat of a people pleaser. I was never going to be the person to call somebody out on their behaviour, because that wasn't how I was brought up. I was always polite. But I would experience real dis-ease at being around people who wore their own mask. And I'm sure we've all had experience of those sorts of people, the people, if you like, who believe their own press. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm all for faking it till you make it, done it myself a good few times. But that's generally about confidence and about pushing yourself out of your comfort zone and growing. Now, fast forward to my working life, and I was working in marketing, an industry that isn't known for being that true to life. There's an awful lot of artifice in marketing, because we regularly take everyday products and metaphorically, through the clever use of words, make them shiny, shiny, until we convince you that you actually can't live life without that product. And from there, I moved into social media, where there is that phenomenon, of course, of Instagram versus reality, where we put a picture, an image on social media, and of an idealized world where the sun is always shining and the tan is always even. But that's not real life. True to ourselves and our hopes and our dreams and our passions and our values. And we commit to living a life where we live our truth. And through doing that, we allow ourselves to live in the moment. We allow ourselves to live with confidence and to stay true to ourselves and to honor ourselves, being and speaking who we really are. But more than that, to living and breathing an open-minded acceptance of others and their beliefs and honoring them accordingly. So I discovered that when we see truth in another person, when we see that person for all they are, metaphorical warts and all, we know what we're going to get from them. And we're able to give freely to others and add value to their lives. And so life becomes much less about tolerance and more about real connection, or not. And the not is okay too. As I found out, as the saying goes, it's probably another of my mother's sayings, you're never going to please all of the people all of the time. And that's okay. Because I've learned that through being authentic, not everybody is going to like me. I'm not going to connect with and feel that connection with every single person that I meet. And they won't feel it with me. But I know that through showing my true self, my tribe will connect with me. They'll find me through that divine connection, that meeting of like minds that we've heard about this evening. And I'm able equally to find and connect with them. So to me, in amongst that spiritual journey, that exploration, I realized that authenticity isn't about following the crowd or just doing what we're told that we should because we should. It's about being open-minded, and it takes some self-work. It takes self-awareness, looking inside ourselves, and that's quite hard sometimes. But it's about being clear on what we stand for and the fact that we might be different to somebody else. It's about having the courage to look within ourselves and to embrace our faults and to say, well, this is me. Now, it's taken me a long time to understand that, from being that young girl trying to fit in and failing and feeling an outsider. But there's real power in being able to accept our innate frailties, our foibles, our failures as an intrinsic part of us, part of who we are, and to show our strength through our imperfections, because we're all of us authentically imperfect. And to understand that from that vulnerability, we show great strength.
Wow. Thank you so much, Julia. And your message is just fantastic. Yes, I make notes from every one of the speakers, and you can see there is that that divine connection, that vibration that is going higher and higher, and that you are such an inspiration. You really are. And your vibration is so high, you shine so brightly. So when you spoke about those that aren't authentic, they are going to react to you. They are going to be drawn to you because you are shining so brightly. But because you remain authentic, you stay true to what your belief is and what your purpose is, those that aren't authentic will just disappear, because as you grow you are shining brighter and brighter. And that is so true. Like you say, you know, you and I talk about it all the time, the difference about social media, where people live a life of pretense and it makes everyone think that that's what we should all be like, and we're not. It's being authentic. It's listening to what each and every one of these wonderful speakers are saying this evening. Like I said to you, their message will resonate, even if it's one sentence. But I believe it's going to be the whole message from each and every one of these wonderful speakers that will really touch your heart, that will give you hope, will give you inspiration, and will help you transform so you can move on in your journey, so you can be flying high. So thank you so much, Julia.
Thank you, Pearl.
Thank you. I'm now going to go to my next wonderful speaker. This lady, haven't known very long, but again, the synchronicities, the connection, the special, the wonder from this lady. I know when I first connected with her, I was telling everyone how fantastic she is, got so excited from all the messages. I'm talking about the wonderful Liz Howard. Now, Liz, you will see, we've just brought her bio up now. This lady, the voice coach, now she was working with me yesterday and teach me. I have to learn to breathe more so you can hear me better. But yes, this lady resonates in so many wonderful, wonderful ways. Liz, will you share what hope, inspiration, transformation means to you, please?
Yes, thank you, Pearl. Hello, everybody. Thank you, Vicki, for having us here. Julia, like you, I was in the bathroom, just really thinking about, what do I really want to say tonight? What message do I want to leave? What inspirational message? What can I say? And I kept hearing truth, 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 truth. So I thought, okay, I'm just going to tell my truth. And imagine this chubby little Black girl back in Denver, Colorado, pigtails, and I'm living in a home where there's no love, there's no truth, and lost. But every now and then I keep hearing a voice that says, just sing, sing. So I just started singing. I had my little wooden spoon. I had the kids in the neighborhood. They were behind me in the choir, and I would just pretend that out there somewhere that somebody was going to listen to me, somebody was going to hear me. And that little voice kept saying, just sing, just sing. Okay, moving forward, I escaped the no truth and the no love household. And of all places, the universe sent me to Germany. A Black woman sent me to Germany. Now, the only reason why I'm saying that is there are very few Black men here. And it was strange because when I first came, the Germans were not used to seeing a Black person, so they would stop and look at me in shock. Oh. And I brought my culture with me, so I would say hello, hello, and smile, hello, and smile, and I was shocking the crap out of them all the time. Anyway, I remember whispers to me, but this time we're going corporate. So corporate, what do you mean? Well, we're gonna leave all the past and the gigs and the clubs and the band and everything that you did. And now we're going to start showing love and truth with your voice and song in corporate so that we can get the Germans to open up, leave that perfection on the side for a second, for just a hot second, and let them open and begin to show their kindred spirit again. I'm like, me? You want me to do this? She's like, yeah, sing, just sing. When I confess this to my German friends, they said, it's never gonna happen. Never, you're never gonna get the Germans to sing. Are you crazy? And that little voice that her team was going to end up singing with me. They still do it today. They say, it's going to be a surprise. And she put a grand piano right smack in the middle of the room. Team would come in, look at me, this big Black woman, no more pigtails, look at me, and you would see the fear in their face. And I would just say to Mama Universe, what do I do now? Just sing, she'd say. Just sing. So guess what? After all these years of doing corporate and working with voices and inspiring voices, what we need to do and how we need to open and how we need to get rid of being perfect and how we need to step into our authentic voice and how, of all things, to have fun. She whispered to me recently, now we're going to start giving them mantras. In other words, we're going to sing their mantra so that they can heal what's going on inside of them. And then I got it why she sent me here. I got it because now those that are attracted to working with me often come to me with the same story. Somebody told me in my childhood, a teacher told me, a sibling told me, my partner told me, this person told me that I couldn't do it. They told me that my voice wasn't good. They told me that I wasn't musical. They told me, and I found out that the universe sent me here to take that truth from them, to release it, to let it go, to set it free. I'm like, holy cow. And you know what I found? I found love. I found love because I freaking love what I do. You know, I once saw something with Ray Charles, and Ray Charles says, you know, if they would have asked me to do this for free, I'd have done it for free. That's how I feel about what I do. That's how I feel when I work with the voice. That's how I feel when a soul that I've never met before opens up and shows me who they really are, and you see how they transform. And I get to see that. I get to experience that time and time and time again. And that's truth. That's love. That's purpose. That's calling. That's heaven. I'm in heaven. Then my heart beats so that I can hardly speak. It's heaven. So I would like to close with saying this. Honor your truth. Go for it. Do it. And no matter what anybody says when they say that you can't do it, do it. and bask in the authenticity of who you truly are.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Didn't I tell you this lady is just so, so special? When Liz starts to speak, she lights you up. And again, these wonderful, wonderful stories. When we say about what ideas come through, the first hit talk I did for Vicky, the first time I was a speaker, synchronicities, the word that came through to me was truth. And now we've got Liz speaking about truth. So you can see how we resonate together and how those synchronicities come in. And it is, can you hear where we've heard the word universe again, where we've been told, just listen to that voice. We might call it intuition. I know I used to think of it as intuition. I know now universe, guides, where I know that I need to listen and to move with that. It's absolutely wonderful. So to everyone here listening to Hit Talks with that pearls of wisdom, the pearls of wisdom that Liz has shared is listen to the universe, listen to that voice and act on it. Be your authentic self. Once you own your truth, you will go forward with authenticity. You will work with the universe. That vibration will take you higher, and you will know that you will resonate at such a level that all those people that resonate with you will come to you. And that's how we build and grow and move together as a movement. And this is it. When Vicky brings everyone together for Hit Talks, we talk about the magic. You listen to Vicky that vibration. So I say another thank you, Liz. Thank you for sharing. You light up every time. Every time I hear you, it does. It just resonates in so many ways. So thank you so much. Absolutely phenomenal. What she's achieved is just fantastic, and I say from the very bottom of my heart a massive thank you to this lady. And she also has Joe's blessings. So our next speaker is the wonderful Annette Greenwood, and as you can see, we're sharing her bio now. The amount of things she has achieved is just fantastic. The synchronicities when I've spoken to this lady are phenomenal. I'd now like to bring Annette Greenwood forward. Annette, will you share your story of hope, inspiration, transformation, please? We can't hear you. I think you're still on mute. I'm not sure. Are we able to unmute? I still can't hear you, I'm afraid, Annette. Oh, can you try your volume? Can't hear you, I'm afraid. Have you got any headphones?
God.
Hello? Do I hear something then? Oh, it's looking. We might have to try again with Annette. I'm not sure because our side it's showing that you are unmuted, Annette, so I'm not sure what's happening with that. So if people are okay, we'll come back to Annette. I'm going to go forward and I'm going to introduce you to our next speaker. Now, I'm going to introduce you to the wonderful Vivian Cardin. Now, Vivian, I've known since I was doing my radio show. Vivian is such a very, very special lady. She has so many synchronicities. We talk to each other regularly, and she has a wonderful, wonderful message to share with us. The wonderful Vivian Cardin, you can see her fantastic bio that's come up here. This lady is so, so very special. Vivian, would you share your story of hope, inspiration, and transformation, please?
Hi, Pearl.
Hello.
Thank you so much. That was a really beautiful introduction, and thanks to Vicky, and thanks to everybody that's here. I have to say, I've enjoyed every second of this, listening to each and every one of you. And I think the whole thing that you've all acknowledged is about how your soul, when it speaks, you listened. And you speak the same language as the soul, and that's something that it can take a lifetime for people to find and to even acknowledge and to accept that we have a soul, and that soul, and speaks to us. And then when we finally make that connection, that's when, as Liz was saying about just sing, and as some of the others were saying about the meaning and the synchronicities, and I have it all written down here about how it all happens. And it's about that moment when you finally, the realization, the light bulb, and you think, wow, now I know why I'm here. Now I've got it. And I know for me, 8 minutes is not a long time, because I rabbit on an awful lot, as anybody that knows me knows. But I do have a story of one that really was my moment, I guess, for when my soul spoke to me and I really heard it. And it's a story of blending and becoming, that person perhaps I was always meant to be. But it happened to me at a really bad time of my life. It happened to me when I was at my lowest ebb. And I felt the whole world around me was collapsing. I felt like everything I was doing was wrong. I was in a bad place. I lost my parents when I was young, and mediumship had always been something that I was born into it anyway. But I had gone against all of that, really gone against all of that. And I became very cynical and didn't want to believe in anything. Why would my parents be taken away from me? Like, we were so young, how come, all these kind of things of it's not fair. And the way you start really, I suppose, feeling that kind of thing for yourself, where it's like, oh, woe is me. Well, I was feeling that. And my then mother-in-law, who is a very religious lady, which I'm not, had said to me, look, every year I go to a place, it's called Medjugorje, it's in Bosnia, Herzegovina. Will you come with me? And I said, absolutely not. And she says, it's a really lovely place, and I think it would do you really, a power of good. And I went, no. Long story short, eventually I gave in because she hounded me. So, I went, didn't know why I was going, didn't care why I was going, was just going to please her. And we went. Yeah, a lot of things happened along the way. One of the main things was when everyone started praying, and I start losing the plot on the plane, and then the turbulence was on the plane, and I said, oh, that's it, we're all gonna die. And she said, sit down. And I said, no. And she said, sit down, No doubt, by the time we got to Dubrovnik, nobody was speaking to me. So I said, you know what, you guys, you go your way, I'll go mine. So anyhow, later on, about a day or two later, there was this guy called Ivan, who was a visionary, by the way, who I knew nothing about because I didn't even make it my business to find out what the story of Medjugorje was. And with having no religious views or not believing in anything like that, I just wasn't interested. So anyway, it turns out that Ivan, on a certain Tuesday every now and then, this lady will appear to him and give messages, and they're asking, will people go onto Apparition Hill, which is where the first apparition occurred. She said to me, would I go? I said, well, sure, I'm here, I have nothing else to do, and off I went. She got to the bottom of the hill and didn't want to go any further because she was getting on. She said, you just follow the crowd. So up I went, sat up at the top of these mountains, and it was a clear sky. And I sat on this rock, and then I get this tip on my shoulder, and this guy goes, you can't sit there. And I said, what do you mean I can't sit here? And he goes, Ivan sits there. And I'm like, like really the stupid way that I was back then, So anyway, off I went, found another spot. There was an Italian couple with their little boy, and we were there. Everyone was singing. There was people of all different nationalities, different cultures, everything, different ages. And I was sitting there and thinking, oh, do you know what? This is nice and everything, but like, actually fed up right now. I want to go. And then everything changed, because from the side, the right-hand side, came this cloud, huge in the clear night sky, and it came over, and it stopped in front and above Ivan. And like a curtain, it just parted. And there was this lady, and she had a gown that came all the way down, and when her hands went out, you could see the beautiful sleeves. She had they were angels, 3 of them. They were huge. I've never been able to find the words in the dictionary that describes that feeling, because I don't believe they exist. It was a love that was on a level that I have never, ever experienced. And again, I don't know how long they were there, but they went back then, and I watched them go back, and that little boy was hanging on to me for dear life, and then he let go and he waved, and I often wonder about him. Does he, like, he'd be in his 20s now, does he ever remember? And they waved, and I went down the hill that night, and as I went back into the hotel, my mother-in-law said to me, oh, we didn't know where you were, you look like you've seen a ghost. And as I was about to say, well, she went, oh, I don't believe it. You saw her. And I went, yes. And she goes, damn it, I've been coming here for years and I've never gotten to see anybody like this. And I went, I know. And she says, do you know what it was? It's because you needed it. And then I told her about the angels, and then I told the whole world about the angels. And ever since then, I've connected with them. I work with them. I see them. They help others. They help me to help others. And that was the moment when my soul spoke in a language that I can't put into words. And I think everybody here tonight has had that moment. And that's what I think is so beautiful and so special about each and every one of our different encounters with our own souls. And that's my story. And it goes on and on and on and on, but again, we'll have another time. So thank you very much for listening. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Vivian. I've known bits of your story, but where you've shared tonight, I've got goosebumps. But as Vicky would say, they're love bumps because we don't call them goosebumps. But just listening and share example of that. And I just want to say a massive thank you. Shared from the heart, as we know everything for Hit Talks is. It comes directly from the heart, and such a special message that you are sharing. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm now going to try one more time. We're going to go back to the lovely Yeah, we did, because we could hear Annette. So if everyone watching will just wait, if Annette, you can try back on again, because we heard you clear as a bell when you started, because obviously we checked all that. So we will do that. So everyone watching, everyone listening, we're going to try again. I think we're going to get Annette to try if she can log out and log back in again. We're hoping that then we're going to be able to pick up and get the sound as well. So yes, hasn't it been fantastic? We're just going to wait for Annette to come back so that she can share. And so we will say, so yes, we're trying that. We will do everything we can to bring Annette forward, because I know she had special message that she wanted to share. Each of our guests so far, can't we see just how much my favourite watched and any of the hit books previously, you can actually see that when the speakers start with their message, it comes forward and you see that message, and you will see there's a theme that goes all the way through, and we can see that where we're having people reaching bottom and then they I think Annette has been let back in. Annette, can we see if you are we able to hear you? Can you come forward and share your story of hope, inspiration, transformation, please? No, sorry, I can't hear you. I'm not sure. I don't know quite what's happening here. I don't know what we can do at time, I'm afraid, Annette, because it's to share. Can you try your phone? Can you try logging in through your phone? Are you on your computer now? Could you try your phone? We try one more time? Can you log out and try logging back in on your phone, please? We're going to try one more time. If you can maybe try and see if you can log in on a different device. Okay, we'll be as quick as we can. But as you see, people that have been listening and sharing, you've seen these wonderful messages that are coming through. We're trying, as you know, Hit Talks runs with 8 speakers speaking for 8 minutes from their soul, from their heart. And so far, each and every one of these wonderful speakers have done just that. And as Vicky will share, if you listen to any of the Hit Talks, to begin with, when you're asked to be a speaker on Hit Talks and you're given no prep or anything, just saying, speak from the heart, share what your soul wants you to say. And you'll find all the speakers will say to you, oh, but can you give me just a little hint? Can you just say, and if you've listened to each and every one of these wonderful, wonderful guests, they have spoken from the heart. We've seen a theme, like we said earlier, where people have hit rock bottom. They've gone right the way down, and that's when they've needed to, they've learned, they've had that message come through, be it divine inspiration, be it any of these things like we've talked about, universe, guides. When you hear Vicky speak about this, she'll say it's her guides that comes through and she gets downloads. How many of these wonderful speakers have spoken about downloads? They've got to rock bottom and then they get these downloads from the universe, from source, from God, from whatever name you give that entity that you listen to that comes through. Once you listen, it can change things and change things. So what I'm going to ask now, we've got a very, very special message from Vicky herself. So if you'd like to just sit back and enjoy this wonderful message from Vicky.
Oh my gosh, how amazing. Thank you so much, Pearl, and thank you so much to every single speaker that has presented on this special edition of Hit Talks Live and Pearls of Wisdom. Oh my gosh, my heart is just singing of love and gratitude and appreciation to every single one of the speakers, every single person watching the replay, every single person in the live. So wait for the next episode of Hit Talks, which is coming on the 21st of April. And it's going to be a magical lineup as always. And don't forget, if you would like to host your own special edition of Hit Talks, if you would like to host it and choose your 8 speakers and have the Hit Talks team doing all the work behind the scenes for you, and you actually bring together this magic that Pearl and her team of speakers have just brought today, then please reach out to us. So from the bottom of my heart to every single one of you here, thank you so much. From the Hit Talks team, thank you so much. Love you and have an absolutely amazing rest of your Sunday.
So we're going to bring this to a close. I don't think we're going to get to hear Annette this time. Looking at Vicky's team and everything, I'm not sure that we're actually going to hear anything. And there will be another time, another chance that we can connect with Annette. So thank you, thank you, thank you, each and every one of you. It has been a pleasure. This has been Hit Talks, special edition of Hit Talks, and with Pearls of Wisdom. Now, are we going to try one more time? I think that Annette might be trying to join us. So we will see one more time, if you just bear with me. Annette, can we hear you? Is your sound clear now? Have we got the chance to hear you one last time? I'm not sure. I don't know if anyone's getting anything through. Don't think we're getting Annette coming through at all. So I do apologise. As you know, Hit Talks is 8 speakers speaking for 8 minutes. Now, it could be the universe is telling us things, as we know, because Joe was initially the speaker, so maybe the universe is having words with me. But Annette had both mine and Joe's love for tonight, so there will be another chance for us to share Annette's message. So thank you, thank you, thank you, each and every one of you, for taking part, to the speakers, to those that joined us and have registered and joined and have listened to us, or anyone that comes back and listens to this on the replay. So thank you so much. It has been a pleasure. Thank you. I'm Pearl Cox. This has been a special edition of Hit Talks with Pearls of Wisdom. Thank you.